I'm not about having a ton of people on my team just so that I can benefit financially. My goal is for them to be six-figure income earners.
So the question then would be I'm a broker. So I do have all the agents, and if they just, it's very small brokerage, but I like it that way. Someone said to me, "Hey, why don't you have 200 people?" I said, "Are you crazy?" I said, "I wouldn't even want to do that." Well, welcome everybody. This is Cynthia Tant from Sip Sell Repeat in Real Estate, and I'm located in the Pensacola area. But I wanted to actually introduce you to a special guest today, and her name is Kim Boerman. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about her, and then she's going to tell you more about herself. So she's a top 1% realtor in Charleston, South Carolina, member of the executive circle of realtors of distinction. And both of us have a little bit in common. We've been in this industry quite some time. Extensive experience she has in the residential sales, marketing, and finance. Has built one of the area's leading real estate teams, which she's going to share some information about that, and consistently ranks among the top 200 of 8,000 agents. Oh, wow. You guys have 8,000 in your area? Holy moly.
Yeah.
Kim also holds the ABR and the E-Pro designations and was named Woman of the Year by Leukemia Lymphoma Society. That is great for community leadership. So, Kim, I've kind of run through that real fast. We've just met recently. What can
Yeah.
you tell us else about yourself and what this industry or this profession has done in your life?
Well, Cynthia, thanks so much first for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to sit here and sip, sell, and repeat with you.
Very
And
cool.
I love real estate. I love the business. It wasn't even my plan to sell real estate back in the day. I went to college for something completely different when we moved to Charleston, South Carolina, which is a destination city, and lots of moving real estate over here. I just kind of fell into it. And so for probably 18 of the last 30 years. The first 18 years, I was a solo agent. And then I just had developed some systems that were producing so many phone calls and leads and things like that, that I realized that I had to implement the team structure. Part of the thing that I love about the team structure, and one of my goals for the team, is that we help the agents create financially independent, successful lives. So I'm not about having a ton of people on my team just so that I can benefit financially. My goal is for them to be six-figure income earners.
So the question then would be I'm a broker. So I do have all the agents, and if they just, it's very small brokerage. But I like it that way.
Right.
Someone said to me, "Hey, why don't you have 200 people?" I said, "Are you crazy?"
Right.
I said, "I wouldn't even want to do that."
Right.
All of my agents, they're also investors because we have fortunate to do that in this area. And not that they came in as investors, but they've developed into it and we've been able to work with them on that. So I really like that concept of your team members and getting them to that six-figure income. But how do you balance that team structure, your client relationships, and then your community involvement so that you do have that thriving business that you promote as a team?
Sure. So balancing, I think that's just something that we all have to learn how to do. But when someone comes on my team, well, real estate in general, whether you're just investing or you're selling or whatever, it's going to take a lot of time. But one of the requirements when people come on the team is that they are willing to take the time to volunteer. We have quarterly projects that we do. Every $100 from every closing is at a minimum is donated towards our project for that quarter. And we close over 100 houses a year. So it's a nice little chunk that's given. We we donate to the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. Just a week ago, we did 100 backpacks that we filled with essentials like pajamas and underwear and journals and sweet things, toiletries for children who are being moved into foster care. And it's just something that we do together as a team. I think it keeps the balance of really keeping focused on other people because really in real estate, that's what it's about, right? It's not just about the sale. It's usually about big life changes or movements that are happening. And so to keep grounded, I think it's important to give back to the community. So we time block for those things. And it's just really high on the scale of what's important to me. I just feel that it's very important to not only balance time for nonprofits and things like that, but also with your family. So when I meet with my team members and I coach them, I tell them time block for your family, those babies when I have the younger ones, or your marriage, or your self-care. So it's just important to time block to make those important things available to you.
Do you feel, since I've been talking to a lot of ladies recently on the podcast, and do you feel, since we've been in this for quite a long period of time, that we did not do that in the beginning?
Correct.
How did you make that transition? Because I know 7 days a week, pick up the phone, go. We didn't have all the social media. The phone, we didn't have the cell phones to start off with,
Mhm.
so it was crazy as to
Yeah.
what's so available right now. So
Right.
when did you see that switch? Because we really did put a lot of time away from, or take a lot of time away from family, friends, community. I did. I know I did. And I don't
Oh,
know if
no. I agree. I was the same way. I think I showed a property on Christmas Eve, which to me now blows my mind that I actually even entertained that. And I tell the agents on my team, like, you have to make those, you can really run into having your relationships suffer significantly at the cost of putting your business number one. That's not to say that you shouldn't make your business important or focus on it. But I think when you risk losing things and you're like, whoa, wait a minute. I think usually some kind of weird life event happens that we don't all go into, and we're like, oh, reality check. I probably need to focus on things that are around me instead of just my business, and so as a leader, that's what I try and help them do,
right.
you
That's
know?
that's what I was just gonna say. For the leadership role, it's very different than being a solo agent and trying to run and gun and everything, and or a broker, however you run your brokerage and everything. And so when did you make that switch? When did you find in your career that, you know what, I've got to make a change. This is gonna have to happen.
Mhm. So it's funny, my broker was the one who actually told me, he was like, "Kim, you should bring someone on because you have all these leads, and it's like you have all these donuts and you can't eat them all, but you don't wanna give them away," and
Oh, that's a great analogy.
yeah, and so I brought my first agent. I said, "Okay, well, I'm gonna try this." And I brought an agent on, and it was just her and myself, and I had a closing coordinator, and I had, lead generation, and I just coached her and worked with her. And at the beginning, I said, okay, well, you guys own you have the buyers, and any listings that come out of these leads, I'll take them. My team structure has morphed considerably over the years based on mistakes that I've made, not wanting to give ownership, wanting to keep that ownership. But I was actually learning from some people that I knew that had teams, and they were like, this is what we do. So I did it. But I realized, that's not really sustaining this team because yeah, I had to learn the hard way, So now my agents can list, they can represent buyers, and I changed my structure for my caps with them because I thought I need to keep high producing agents because after a while they say, "Why would I
I
stay?"
would say.
So their cap changes considerably. One of my agents, she'll make over 200,000. Some of them make over 200,000. So, but it took a lot. It's been since 2012. So that's 13 years I've been in the team structure, and it's been a bumpy ride, but it's been a great ride, and I've learned a lot, and I think it's a lot better now.
Well, and I think as I've talked to other ladies through Sip Sell Repeat that they wanted to scale. And the only way to scale is to have a team. And the only way to team is, what is your structure? And it's a million different ways to have the different structures. And like you said, they learn the same way. It's like, okay, my personality is this, or whatever the case may be. And so I've seen that in my area. And I don't know, but mainly we don't have as many women brokers as we do men. We have different leadership types of styles. And so it's been very educational to learn about how successful ladies like yourself too are working in a team environment and promoting that. So when your team structure and collaboration, you do have, it says it define roles. Let's go a little bit into that as far as your organization, your accountability, anything you want to share with us. Don't have to give the whole system away. It's just whatever you feel that has helped you.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to share. So I'm the team lead, and we have the agents on the team. They all prospect. They have prospecting days. I don't prospect anymore. I prospect in a different way that we all do in the respect that I have, we set up our sphere of influence. We market to them. We do client events. I only help people who my past clients and referrals, direct referrals, whether it be from my clients or what have you. My agents that are on my team, they handle all of the online leads. And then they're building their business to also have past clients and referrals and things like that. And then we have a closing coordinator, transaction coordinator, which I pay for. And he handles all of the all of the paperwork, all of the details. Yeah. And teaching them how to relinquish that need to grasp onto that deal and let Nick, who's our closing coordinator, take it when it gets. And it's not that they don't interact with their clients anymore. It's just that's one of the things that I've had to help agents understand when they come on. Like, it's okay to let go a little bit, and let someone else help you.
Well, and also, what's the best use of our time? It is not doing paperwork. Now, probably like my transaction coordinator, Nick, is probably very well organized, very analytical. I am not. I'm the worst. Probably you are too. It's like, I'm the worst. I got to hire somebody to do all this. Now I can do it, obviously. But do I want to? That's the next question.
Correct. Right.
When you said something that you have community events. So is that something that you said a couple times, and you do it quarterly. So how has that evolved, and what type of events do you do?
Well, we do we do community-based events as far as like nonprofit. So we do the fundraising for the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. That's the first quarter. The second quarter, we do adopt a pet. We pay for the adoption of animals, and we have it at a local brewery. And, we have pet helpers, or the Charleston Animal Society come and bring all the animals. And then we pay for those animals to have homes.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
And so that's one of the events. The other event are the backpacks that I spoke of. My team will do Habitat for Humanity build.
Okay.
And then I do client events. So what I think that what the agents have said that they like the most when they come onto the team is that the systems are all in place. So I already have halfway through the year, we do a client event for all past clients at the River Dog Stadium, which is a baseball stadium. We pay.
I do that too. Do you get a party deck? Do you get a party deck?
Yes, we just get a whole section.
Yep.
Yeah. And then we do a holiday party at the end of the year where I do it at a brewery, and we have it catered, drinks, face painting, photo booths, cookie decorating, and do a gift card giveaway. It's huge. And people just love that. They can't wait, And so I'm teaching the agents, even if they go out on their own, which has been a hard thing for me as a team leader, because it's kind of,
You're leaving. You're just like, yeah.
Yes, exactly. But my husband says, well, you should be proud because you
train them.
Go,
Yeah.
And so they learn those systems. Like, it's important to keep in contact with your past clients and on a continual basis and things like that.
Oh, I agree. I do the uh, the baseball game on my mom's birthday. So we started 5 years ago. She's 89. So yeah, so 94 was the last one, and she's ready for 95. But everybody knows Miss Betty. Everybody's gonna come show up because it's like, there's a couple hundred people come, you have the party deck, yeah, and the vendors, and everybody's there, but it's such a thrill for her that
Oh,
as long as she's around, we're doing the baseball. And everybody keeps asking every year, when are we gonna see Miss Betty? And no, no, no. So that's been one of my most what's the word that I want to use? Fulfilling from a personal standpoint because of her age and stuff. She threw out the pitch for the first 3 years.
oh,
Yeah,
wow.
she won't
That
do
is
it
so
anymore.
awesome.
Yeah, she won't do it anymore. But she goes, I can't stand that much. I said, okay, mom, we won't do it. But you
Right.
know, that
Oh,
baseball's been her world for. She was a Yankees fan because she lived up in Connecticut. So I hear all about the Yankees. But that I feel that the community events and then the special courses and the things that we do, it's just not always, hey, pick me, I'm your realtor. It's those relationships that we form. Can you give us an example of maybe a long-term relationship that you formed, and it could have been like, something that was crazy when it happened, and then all of a sudden you've known each other for 25 years or something
mhm.
like that?
Well, you mean with clients?
Yeah, with a client. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well,
I
I
know.
mean,
I know.
I most of my clients, they are, their children weren't even born
Born.
now.
Yep.
Their children are driving and everything. My daughter is 24. One of my clients, gosh, I remember when I first started real estate, it was when the want ads still had real estate in it.
Yeah, in the newspaper, yes.
And I would go to the dollar store. This is so funny now. This is funny. My client thinks it was something different. Okay, so I would go to the dollar store and I would get like those little Halloween jars and I put candy in it. And I did a
Right.
note that said, rates are frighteningly low, something cheesy like that.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
and I would just go leave it on people's front doorsteps. Candy.
know.
Like,
I know.
when so they called me, right? And
Right.
so I show up at the house. She has her baby in a high chair. I'm pregnant. I end up listing their house. They've become good friends of mine. I've done like 7 deals with
Yes.
them. Our
Yep.
girls are 24 years old. We both
Yep.
have older sons. My son's 34 years old, and then I just my clients are so wonderful because they are 25, 30-year-old clients repeatedly.
Right.
And so it's through divorces, through deaths, through their kids are having babies and now they need houses. And so just if you can stick with it and keep in contact with those clients and be of service to them, they will treat you so well by sending referrals repeatedly.
Oh, absolutely. My first deal, I was sitting floor, when you used to do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Really?
I was sitting floor duty, and this guy comes walking in. I have a checkbook. I want to buy a house. And I'm like, a week in the business. I go, okay. So Ben and Diane, we sat down. We started going through the MLS. I said, off we go. And the story I tell all the time, and they laugh about it too. Very first house we go look at, it's got a pink kitchen. And I'm looking around. I go, you really like this? Kind of like, are you crazy? Why are we here?
Right.
And so I learned to shut my mouth up, after
Mhm.
that one, because we went to 5 more houses. They go, no, that's what we want. Okay. And I only showed him one day. I said, well, this is really easy, which needless to say, that wasn't going to happen.
Right.
Yeah. Now, wrote the offer.
But it does happen
It
sometimes.
does happen. And wrote the offer. That was their first house. And Ivan unfortunately did damage. So they sold that. They got another house. Then their 3 kids grew up and they bought houses. And then now they all have kids. And it's a big family right now. And so, yeah. So on and on and on. And then, of course, they refer you to their friends and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And that's where I think that if you stay long enough in this business, it's so rewarding.
Mhm.
And a lot of my friends are from real estate.
Right.
If you can pinpoint a bad transaction, anything that's happened, doesn't names or anything, like just what went bad? Anything happened?
Do you mean like with the client it went bad, or
Either way you want to put it, you can
either
say.
way?
Yeah.
Well, there's
Just some words of wisdom. Yeah.
some words of wisdom, I would say. Well, I want to come back to something that you said.
Okay.
In a minute, so I'll have to remember it. But you don't have to, if we're talking to real estate professionals in general,
Yes. Yeah.
you don't have to keep a client.
Yep.
If they are, and I had a client, they were good clients. I first started out with the husband. They were older. I don't know. I was pretty young at the time, so maybe they weren't as old as I thought they were. But but I think that they were in their late 70s, maybe 80, or pushing 80. He was wonderful. I sold several of his properties, and then he got married to this woman who was like colonel or something in the army. She was really high up in the army.
Oh, okay.
She just really had a very strong mindset, which is fine. She's very giving you orders and everything. And it was during the time when the market was starting to downturn, right? So people weren't very happy. They were not happy with their agents because they were frustrated in general, and they blamed us. And she just was just not nice and just on me all the time. And I said, I had their house listed downtown Charleston on King Street, very nice property. And I just said, I think we're going to need to terminate this agreement because it was consuming so much of my time and energy. And I thought, I don't need this. I don't need to subject myself to this. Now, that doesn't mean that because real estate is so challenging and people get really upset and you have to really kind of guide them through things, that's a totally different thing. You have to have patience and be loving and kind and understanding. But when someone's just being downright nasty and a big headache, it's like, just cut bait, and it just be done. So I would suggest that.
I agree with you on that. It's like, I also tell my agents, I say, they're interviewing us, but we're interviewing them. If you don't feel comfortable with it and this starts to go in a different direction, now we do have other agents in the company that maybe we can salvage it within the company or your team, but it's just a matter of it. And it's easier to do it as we go along or as we've had the years under us, because that new agent or that newer agent is going, well, if I lose this deal and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And when I was talking to somebody yesterday, it was just like, people can smell the blood that you got to make this sale. It's, and it's not a good feeling. And I totally understand when, you haven't made a sale in a couple of months and what am I going to do? Blah, blah, blah. But man, sometimes you just got to walk away.
Yes, I agree. Totally.
And then you were going to ask me something else.
Oh, I was just going to say, when we were talking earlier about like what keeps those clients, it's funny, like how you start with the candy jar or whatever. And then I did like I think it was like Carlton Sheets had like a marketing plan, and I would make copies and send it out to the apartment complexes every week. I followed that. And then we'd progress through technology and everything. But I would just say that really staying the course over time is what helps. It's just being persistent continually. And then it will eventually build up that client base, right? But you just have to be tenacious and persistent and not get discouraged.
Do you feel good old HGTV, reality shows, everything else like that that's out there, that the client that's coming to us sometimes has a misperception of what we do as realtors?
Oh, yeah, I think definitely people do. Yeah. I'm fortunate that my clients, because they're past clients, they don't.
Yeah.
But I think that probably the people on my team see that. And even my friends who they're not buying real estate, but they watch those shows. It's like people do think that all you do is unlock doors, but that showing a house is really like this much of what happens. And then the rest unfolds. So I did a podcast or something once where we did like the different hats you wear as realtors.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah. Well, I always like draw a wheel on a bike. I go, okay, so here we are, a realtor in the middle. And we've got to do the title company, and we have the mortgage company, and then we have the inspector, and then we have, and then going, and people go, what? And they
Yeah.
really don't know it until we educate them.
And that you work a lot of hours, like we talked about. You do have balance as you have been in it longer,
Right.
you get your balance, but you're still
Right.
not a 9 to 5er at all. I mean, I'm up at 4 in the morning. I'm an early riser, but
So am I.
yeah.
I think that, and I've realized I have a couple of realtors that they are not early risers. And I go, okay, but you're at 10 o'clock in the morning and who's doing business after 5 o'clock? Because most people, they're done with their day. We're kind of going through that little transition. And I can't think that late in the evening. I'm going, there's just, the mind cannot absorb that much. Now, you have been involved in some investments. Is that correct? Or working with investors?
Yes, I
Okay.
I had a very strong investment client base, uh, especially when we were going through the big flipping, when flipping first started
Right.
becoming extremely popular. And it
Right.
actually was when I started into my team is when we really started getting a huge amount of investors coming to the Charleston area from like Vegas, California, and they were doing a lot of flips. And people buy a lot of investment properties in Charleston due to the fact that we're a destination city, much like where you
Like
are.
we are.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a great place to have investment property. I have an investment property out at the beach, and we've had, regular long-term rentals or things like that. So
Have you seen some changes in your market because of pricing and trying to get return on investment? And this is like, there isn't
right.
that much
Correct.
anymore.
So when people call us and say, and a lot of times it's like a new investor where they need
Yep.
to get a loan
Right.
and they want to get a loan and they want it to cash flow. And it's like, here, that is just not going to happen. Right. Like,
Yeah.
we have very nice increase in equity.
Mhm.
Aside from the whole craziness that 2021,
2020. Yeah.
2022
Yeah.
brought, 30 to 40% increase in equity.
Yeah.
But
Crazy.
historically here, you're looking anywhere from 6 to 7% and up in certain areas,
Normal.
depending on
Yeah.
where you buy, right? Of increase in
Right.
equity over time. So
Right.
it's like, unless the market crashes and then it's everyone's affected, this is a great place to buy investment property if you are looking for the long, like something.
no.
Yeah, and short-term rentals. They are great. Our short-term rental has a great occupancy and it's paying for itself. And we don't really have to do much because I don't even manage it. I have a property manager and I negotiated that. But we
Right.
were talking earlier, you have to be careful wherever you go, whether it be that they're
Right.
buying where you are, um, or where I am, that someone knows what kind of moratoriums there are. So they don't get
Rules and regulations.
stuck,
Yep.
in a place where they buy it and then they find out that their realtor didn't know what they were doing. And now they're stuck in an area they can't even rent the property out.
Yeah. No. And I've had people come to me after, and here we don't have any restrictions in Pensacola, which is, I guess, life saving for people who do want to, because we've been doing beachfront property management for years. I mean, Verbo was here way before Airbnb came,
Right.
and I'm sure it was in Charleston too. And so, in our downtown and more of our Airbnb when it came during the pandemic just exploded.
Mhm.
But location is still location. I mean, you can't put a house that you're going to do Airbnb in an area where you have a homeless person living out of a car,
Right.
and you're trying to tell somebody, no, this is not going to work. Yeah, but
Right.
it's only $200,000 to buy it. No, this is not going to work.
Right.
Because of the pricing, they're looking, oh, well, this is a great deal because they're coming in from New York or something. I said, no, it's
Right.
not. No,
You're like, yeah, it's a great deal for a reason.
well, that's exactly right. And that's what I told this guy over and over and over again. He still wanted to do. I said, well, I'm not going to manage it for you. First, I didn't sell it to you. Secondly, I'm not going to manage it for you. And of course, he went with another manager and they could not get anybody to rent it because of the area. And that's where I think that understanding the market, if you are doing the investing, but also sharing that with other people. Like, here we're in Pensacola, you're in Charleston. I was last week, I was down in Dominican Republic, and it was just like, oh gosh, Hurricane Melissa's coming, and here we are on an island.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking to myself, I live in Florida. I go through hurricanes all the time. Why am I not on an island right now? What's
Gosh.
Yeah, we had a couple rainy time periods and windy, but I tried to explain to everybody. I said I live in Pensacola, which is right next to Alabama. Key West is way down to the other end of Pensacola, which is about, oh my God, it's 12-hour drive at least. And then I said, okay, Haiti's over here. We're over here. We're at least that same distance from the Florida Panhandle to Key West. There are hurricanes down in the peninsula in South Florida, and we're still sunshine. There's hurricanes with us, and they're not having an issue. So I think we're going to be fine. But I mean, 650 miles away when it slammed into Jamaica, but it was just like that.
Was unnerving, I'm sure.
It was a little bit because a lot of people that were there, we had people that canceled. They didn't come on the trip because they were worried about it. And I said, I understand, because I've been through enough of them. My first one, I was 3 years old. And so I didn't understand why the water was coming in on the baseboards of the house, in Daytona Beach. But then back then, my parents, they said, they just let us go out in the streets and play in the water. I go, oh my God, can you imagine?
Because they didn't have the internet telling them, showing them all
You
those
did not
stories.
do that. Don't go follow the mosquito truck behind, that has all the
Right.
poison coming out. Don't follow that behind in the bikes. We did. I mean, when you think about how are we still alive? But from a real estate standpoint, what have been the biggest things that you have seen that has enhanced your career as it's moved forward?
From a real estate standpoint?
Yeah, from the real estate standpoint.
I think things that have enhanced the career or the ease of systems, so to speak, what I love is digital signatures. That has enhanced my
Really?
life. I
For
don't have to
sure.
run to a fax machine or go hunt someone down.
Yeah.
Social media, I'm of the age where it's great, but it's not like I'm not.
Right.
You have very younger agents who are really loving that, and they're really making great businesses from being on TikTok and things like that. So I think that's
Reels.
a great opportunity for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that probably both for me and you, we live in places that are destination cities. So this is a great market to be in. Even when we're not in the boom, we hold steady. So,
Yeah.
I just love where I sell for sure.
It has 2025 been squirrely, weird? I mean, as far as I've talked to a number of people about how the year has gone.
So our numbers are still just as strong personally.
Mhm.
But as a whole, there are some things that are odd. Like I have a couple of listings that are not being shown at all. They're priced really well.
Right.
It's just bizarre. I'm talking to other agents and it's like crickets. But then and it's not a bad area. And then in another area, they will go. And it's not about pricing. So there's some weird,
Right.
the market is being really fickle right now.
True.
And I can't quite put my finger on what it is, an agent, because I'm getting ready to bring some agents onto the team. She said to me, well, how is your business being affected by the government shutdown? And I'm like, it's not. My team doesn't even talk about the government shutdown. Like, I don't know. Like, we're not being affected by that at all. So that's not the problem. Interest rates are not really that bad, They could be lower, be great.
Yeah.
Our prices are really up there though in Charleston. I don't know about where you are, but
Yeah, no, ours aren't that high. The beach obviously has a different clientele, but ours are average about 315 in town.
oh,
Which is,
really?
which is high for us. We're a lower income area, but the beaches, we kind of keep out of that. The big thing that has hit us is a big Navy base. The Blue Angels fly out of here. So next weekend after next, they canceled their homecoming, their final flight for the year, as a show for the year is their homecoming flight here in Pensacola. And
Oh,
so from an Airbnb standpoint. Everybody canceled everything.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear
Yeah.
that.
And the thing is like, because they practice here, they practice Tuesday and Wednesday, and then they go to their show. Well, they've been practicing, but there's no shows to go to. So we actually hear them all the time or see them 2 or 3 times, the past couple of weeks, 3 times a week while they're practicing. So they're going, why are you practicing if you're not doing any shows? Well, it's a different story having a plane going that fast. So they're practicing. So then they just finally canceled. They don't know how long it's going to take to shut down. So we're all going scrambling. It's like, hey, really?
Yeah. So it affected respect from a tourism standpoint.
From a tourism standpoint, yeah. And so, and we're in the Panhandle, so we're a little colder. Like they're supposed to get down in 30s on Monday. I go 10 inches of snow last year, and it was like
we had snow also, and it's
I know.
week.
It was that same band, I think, that came through, and the rain came, and it was beautiful snow. And you went 10 inches, and the kids around here had never seen snow, so they took their surfboards and their boogie boards, and they're trying to find any kind of hill that they're supposed to. We don't have. You got to go to a golf course or something to find something like that. But it was so funny because they're cute out there trying to ski or whatever on whatever it was. But from a standpoint that, get back to what we're talking about here, you said that you were going to be bringing on some new people. Would you like to share, the type of person? I know that you want to make sure that that person is successful with a 6-figure income. Are you bringing on brand new realtors, or are you bringing on established realtors into your team?
So it's funny that you would ask that, because typically the model that I follow is, I would prefer for them to have some success or some experience, but they can't be too experienced, because then they're really not interested. So I like to see someone that has done some deals, so that I know that they're not just brand spanking new. So I won't typically bring on a brand new agent. I did just sign someone on who, she's done 7 transactions, but my first buyer's agent, I think, had only done 8 transactions. And now she's like a rock star,
Mhm.
And then this other person I'm interviewing tomorrow, I don't know that they've had a closing, but I did hear a story that they went into a barber shop because they were so frustrated. They didn't know how to get leads. And he lives in a smaller part of town. And he went in and said, "This is my name, and I'm a realtor. And if you know anyone looking to buy or sell, I would love," and he's young. So this is an unconventional way for them to do that.
Right.
Right. And he got 3 listings out of it.
That's kind of crazy, because, and then they don't know, what am I supposed to do? Okay.
Yeah.
I had my handyman, and this story is, I have so many stories. I always come up with, like, facts tell, but stories sell. So I have so many stories, and one of my handyman ended up in jail. I go, what? And who does he call? Me. And I go, well, what do you want me to do? Can you pay my bond? I go, no. I said, why would I do that? And he goes, no, it's only $1,000. You only have to put $100 down, and I promise nothing's going to happen. And he actually is a great guy. It was something stupid, and he's been great ever since. I said, all right. I don't even know where bail bondsman is. I don't, that's not in my wheelhouse, right? And this is like 10 o'clock at night, and I'm going, what? So his one phone call, he calls me. And so I go to the bail bondsman. I called him first, and he goes, well, you have to prove that you have the money. I said, what? I have to show to you that if you have a job. I said, no, I own a couple real estate companies. Oh, okay. Well, just come over, show me something. I said, I'm not showing you my income statement because I'm a bail bondsman for $1,000. And he goes, just give me something. I said, all right. So I go running over there. This is like 11 o'clock at night, or else he was going to have to spend the night in jail. I said, okay, it's 11 o'clock at night. And the guy goes, I'm not worried about you. I gave my real estate card. I said, I don't even know what to do. And so we started talking. He goes, I need to buy a house. I said, what?
Sounded great.
Paid the bail bondsman, got the guy out of jail. He paid off everything. He didn't get caught. It was $100, But I ended up with a $5,000 deal because I went to a bail bondsman at 11 o'clock at night. How could that ever happen? And people go, "You are in the weirdest situations." I know. And so I want to thank you for sharing with us your expertise. And I know that we'll probably communicate later on for some referrals here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to shut us off. We're going to say goodbye from Sip, Sell,
Yeah.
Repeat. Kim and
Yeah.
I have had a great time today. If you're inspired by these powerful women in real estate, you'll want to catch the next conversation. Click the video on screen to keep sipping, selling, and leveling up your game.